Our world operates 24 hours a day. Round-the-clock operations are essential to a majority of businesses. There's a price to be paid, however, for those persons working swing shifts and midnight shifts. The problem is increased for those persons working rotating shifts and who suffer a higher rate of illness and death than their straight day shift counterparts. Surveys show that shift workers are chronically deprived of sleep, and this group has approximately twice as many automobile accidents as regular 9-to-5 day workers. Inattentiveness and loss of alertness are among the most important contributors to human error. Experience and statistics have shown that human error is the primary cause of 85 to 98% of accidents and injuries. Okay, without citing more statistics, billions of dollars in costs and other facts, let's agree that night shift work can be stressful and fatiguing to anyone working these shifts. Understanding the problem. Let's take a closer look at this thing called fatigue and some of the things we may not know about it. We all know that sleep loss can create fatigue. The average individual normally needs about 8 hours of sleep daily. If a person does not get his required sleep, he accumulates a sleep debt, which can only be eliminated through sufficient amounts of sleep. Sleepiness is the brain's signal that warns you that you need to sleep. A person generally needs at least 8 hours of sleep to feel completely alert and rested. If that person only gets 6 hours of sleep, then that person has a 2-hour sleep deficiency. Let's say you lose 2 hours each night for 4 days. This means you have a total of 8 hours of sleep loss, or a sleep debt of 8 hours in those 4 days. The loss of one night's sleep can be compounded by subsequent sleep loss. Losing just 2 hours of sleep can affect your performance and can include degraded judgment, poor decision-making, memory loss, slowed reaction time, lack of concentration, and, of course, change your mood. We can all agree that losing sleep does affect our body performance. Next, let's take fatigue one step further and talk about your body rhythms. These body rhythms are called circadian rhythms, and these are your psychological and behavioral processes that oscillate on a 24-hour basis. Each rhythm has a peak and a low point during every 24-hour period. Time cues keep the body clock set to the appropriate time of the day or the schedule you have set for yourself. These cues can be sunlight and darkness or work and rest schedules. From day one, humans have awakened with the sun and slept at night. Since the invention of the electric light, we have broken with what nature dictates. If your body clock moves to a new schedule, the clock requires a certain amount of time to adjust to the new schedule. Frequent airline travelers call it jet lag. During this adjustment period, this disruption of your body's schedule can produce effects similar to those of sleep loss. This body clock manages such functions as core body temperature, hormonal release, and cognitive ability, as well as the wakefulness and sleepiness of an individual. We are awake and alert during daytime hours because our core body temperature is elevated, stimulating hormones, and brain activity is at its peak. On the other hand, during nighttime hours, body temperature drops, the sleep hormone is secreted, and brain activity slows down. Even after years of work at night, your body is still trying to adjust, but does not adapt psychologically to wakefulness at night and sleep during the day. A typical night shift worker sleeps 1 or 2 hours less than a day worker. When this body cycle disruption and sleep loss occur together, they can interact to compound their adverse effects. In extreme cases, major loss of sleep, combined with disruption of our body rhythms, can cause uncontrolled and involuntary shutdown of the brain. It can be a dangerous situation, particularly if you operate equipment, machinery, or potentially dangerous processes during this period of time. One important thing you can do at work is to make sure your work area is well lighted, as this will significantly reduce fatigue. Professional truck and motor coach drivers are often forced to disrupt their body cycle by driving at night or on odd shifts. Insufficient sleep is certainly a contributing factor to this stress. Nighttime driving research has shown that night driving represents a risk factor 36 times greater than day driving. Time of day drivers' body cycles is identified as the biggest contributors to road accidents. Most accidents occur between midnight and 6 o'clock in the morning. Inverted sleep cycles resulting from shift work changes add to fatigue as the body tries to adjust to irregular times to sleep. Drivers working on changing shifts have a more difficult time getting sufficient sleep when they are off of duty. This can easily disrupt a person's natural sleep cycle. One study reports that after 24 hours of duty, people experience a 25% decrease in performance. Experienced drivers and night shift workers can easily relate to this because it's happened to everyone at one time or another. Stress, loss of sleep, and disruption of body cycles can also lead to cardiovascular diseases. It would be great if everyone always got all the sleep they needed, maintained proper body rhythms, and didn't feel any stress. It seems like an impossible task, but there are some steps you can take to achieve that goal. Reducing the problem. One of the most important factors in reducing fatigue begins with the individual. Learning and understanding the psychological need for sleep and the effects of sleep deprivation are perhaps the most important factors in reducing fatigue. This can be learned through training programs and other methods. You know when you get sleepy because your brain's telling you to sleep. Each individual knows how much sleep is required, normally 8 hours. You should understand the effect of lack of sleep on your performance and take steps to ensure that you get your proper amount of sleep.
We really have to keep our balance when it comes to priorities. And that can be difficult for me, especially when I've been at home with the baby all day. By the time he gets home, I'm really ready for a break. I want to go to dinner or maybe see a movie, just something to get out of the house. And I think that's really the point when I have to be realistic and know that he needs his rest if he's going to be safe and alert and focused while he's driving. So we will eventually have that dinner together or do something that we wanted to relax. But I think first and foremost, I have to realize the most important thing is that he gets the right amount of sleep.
Don't forget to think about sleep debt. This is one debt that must be repaid as quickly as possible. Your organization provides time off from your job, but often people push the limit and don't always use the time off for adequate sleep. Working longer hours, trying to maintain schedules or increase your salary can work against you when fatigue sets in. Without proper sleep and maintenance of body rhythms, you could adversely affect your health and safety. The time of day you drive is also a major factor. The hours between midnight and 6 o'clock a.m. are the times of most severe fatigue. A second dangerous period is between 2 and 4 in the afternoon, but this time period is not quite as severe. A cup of coffee or tea is all it takes to stay awake. Well, that statement is partially true, but it's also very deceptive. 2 cups of coffee consumed 20 minutes prior to times of anticipated sleepiness may help combat fatigue. However, caffeine only provides a quick but short-lived improvement in alertness, and the body becomes more adapted to regular use of caffeine. Most heavy coffee drinkers don't get any alertness benefit from coffee. Perhaps the most important part of reducing stress and fatigue is good health. Physical fitness and ergonomics are also helpful in fighting off fatigue. Shift workers are more likely to suffer cardiovascular and digestive disorders. They also experience more frequent headaches, fatigue, stress, muscle pain, respiratory infections, and other maladies. How about taking short naps? Do they really help? Studies by the Federal Aviation Administration found that brief naps do improve performance and psychological alertness. To improve your health and fitness, use good breathing exercises, brisk walks, exercise. Even meditation can help reduce stress and help fight fatigue. So choose the best meditation that suits your needs. When you first begin nighttime work, you need about 6 or 7 days to reverse the normal daytime orientation. Get 7 to 8 hours of restful sleep in a darkened room and avoid early morning daylight until after 7 a.m. Wear sunglasses if necessary. Once the nighttime routine is established, you need to maintain it even on days off. Basically, the principal survival technique is consistency of habits. If you eat breakfast and exercise when you wake up, do so whenever your adjusted morning occurs. If you work only the night shift occasionally, take a long nap about 3 to 4 hours before starting the shift. This will give you enough recovery sleep to get you through the day and put you back on normal daytime schedule. Rotating shifts are the most difficult, but there are things you can do to reduce loss of sleep and fatigue. You shouldn't try to change your circadian rhythm because the shift lasts only a few days. Try to maintain your daytime body cycle. When you finish your night shift, only sleep 4 to 5 hours. Get up, participate in your normal daytime activities, and return to bed, getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep before your shift begins. When you rotate to swings or days, sleep as normal, at night, and at consistent times. Personal issues. Let's review some of the things you can do to help fight fatigue. Wellness and lifestyle, which means that good physical fitness, diet, and personal living habits influence and contribute to fatigue on the job. Family matters, state of health, and sense of self-worth also contribute to a mental state of mind or attitude, which in turn influences stress and fatigue while working at night. You should always seek medical advice for any diet, but the opportunity for healthy meals during nighttime shifts is limited. Make your shift meals as nutritious as possible, such as fruits, vegetables, and breads. Have your large meal for lunch rather than dinner, and drink lots of water or juice while on duty. This individual is a heavy eater all the time, so we don't recommend stuffing yourselves with greasy, heavy foods. There isn't much you can do for this person for nighttime shifts or daytime shifts. Personal accountability is an employee's level of personal accountability for his or her actions that can significantly influence the effect of fatigue while working nighttime shifts. This accountability is holding oneself to a personal and professional standard which will directly influence the levels of stress and fatigue associated with being a shift worker. Exceeding one's limits is usually related to economic opportunities. This comes in the form of accepting jobs or extra work, which takes a person behind his or her physical limits. Regardless of economic need, company demand, or both, the night shift worker should not delay or ignore the psychological need for rest. Night shift workers are true professionals and perform their jobs in a responsible manner. Additional training and knowledge about fatigue and stress will go a long way in helping to reduce shift work fatigue. Certainly, all employees have the responsibility for their own wellness and health, but just like everyone else in the world, additional knowledge will go a long way towards reducing these psychological factors. Thank you for watching and listening. Now, go get some sleep. You can find more information on shift work on this website. They have links to a large number of shift work sites.